to talk in this book about something that I had blanked and pushed down, that I actually... Lulu is happy, clappy. Marie is happy, scrappy, sometimes angry, different to Lulu. Had a lot of shame about my life. With the drinking, I managed to control it until it started to control me. But I'll tell you something that happened with Bowie that I've also never really said. And he looked in my eyes and I leaned forward and I thought, oh my God, what's he going to say? I think you could lose a bit of weight, he said. Wow. I had to go back into therapy once I started. I had so carefully blanked things out, pushed them down. People think they know you, they have no idea. They just don't. I chose not to share certain things.
Oh, I'm so excited. Lulu, what a joy to have you on Happy Place.
I'm very honoured. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm honoured. I loved reading your book. I mean, I know
did?
you, but this was like, I got to know you. And the end of chapter 1, you summarise that initial part of the book by saying, this is your time to be utterly transparent, whereas you might not have been entirely transparent before. What stopped you, do you think, talking about the entirety of your story before now?
I have a pat answer, which is I'm a private person.
Yeah.
But really and truly, I had a lot of shame about my life, about moments in my life, my childhood. And, to be honest with you, my mother trained me very early on. Anything that goes on in this house does not leave this house. And so, obviously, the violence and the alcoholism and all the stuff in my young childhood, I was ashamed.
I mean, you've got to do a hell of a lot of work personally to get to a point where you can then start even telling mates about this stuff. You know, I've got big patches of my life where I know that shame still sort of floats around in the equation. And they're always the moments, you know, where I need to go to therapy again and talk about stuff, or, you know, some stuff I still wouldn't want to talk to my friends about. So to write it in a book is a huge deal because you've got to talk about it all over again. You've got to have a level of comfort with it. What's gotten
100%.
you to that point?
Well, I'm 76. That's what's got me. I mean, and I do feel privileged to be 76 because, you know, my mother didn't live this long, my father didn't live this long. And I'll tell you what happened. I think maybe the kick-in of I'm going to do the book, you know, because I'd thought about it, people had mentioned it, and I thought maybe, yeah, we'll see, yeah. And then my granddaughter turned 15. And my son and I were, you know, looking at her, just loving her to pieces. She's just so great. And 15 and going to school. I mean, she's a young woman, but she's really only a little girl. And my son then said, Bella, you know what Nana was doing at 15? And really, it's sort of like, yeah, wow. He said she was in business, she was on the road, no school for Nana. And then, you know, when I started to think about writing my memoir, telling my story, because it's been said by only, I think there are 4 people who really know me. And one of them said, people think they know you, they have no idea. They just don't. They don't know, because I don't share certain things. I chose not to share certain things. And I thought, my grandchildren don't know. I'm going to do it. That's the reason I'm going to do the book. For a legacy for my grandchildren, to get to know who their grandmother was.
Yeah.
And that's when it started. And boy, I had to go back into therapy once I started.
I bet. Because
I had so carefully blanked things out, pushed them down, and to drag them up again was emotional. It was painful. I mean, a lot of the things, there are things in the book too, because I've just finished Audible that made me laugh. What an idiot I am. And thank God I've got a sense of humor. But, you know, I think everybody's story is, I mean, for me, I read books mainly to learn.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious. And I thought, well, maybe if I tell my whole story, and then I started to look at it, and I'm thinking, oh my, what a life, Lou. I've had a life.
What a life.
And if somebody can get something from it that maybe help them, or they may think, oh, that's a good idea. Oh, I wonder why she did that. Or maybe I should try. Or, one person decides that it's helpful. That's my small way of giving back, because I've had the most unbelievable life.
I mean, unbelievable. And you undoubtedly will help so many people. I think especially when it comes to shame.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about this stuff because that's what shame does. Shame stops you from talking. It keeps you quiet. It keeps you straight-jacketed. It stays in the dark. And actually, I think you realise as soon as you start talking about the things that you feel ashamed about, it dissipates because you're not, it's not hiding in the dark, growing secretly. And then you have other
Fermenting,
yeah. And you have other people
going,
sounds
terrible.
Oh my God, same. I've been through that, or I've had something similar, or I feel ashamed about this. It does help.
That is actually, for instance, when I started, first of all, they changed my name. They changed my...
this would have been the record label, right? They said...
Well, it's a combination of people, First of all, it was my manager, Marion. My name is McDonald McLaughlin Lawrie. Well, that's going to, a bit of a mouth.
It's not as catchy as Lulu.
And everybody, there was just the Beatles, just been going for a year or so. The Rolling Stones, the Animals, all these cute names. And she said, we need something for you that suits you. And she suggested Lulu. And I sort of went, yeah, because I was thinking of comparing myself with all the bands. And then, of course, what happened next was that, Lulu is a character I now know. And it's a character I play.
So you still click into that even now?
Now I know what it is.
Yeah.
Before I wasn't 100% sure. I hadn't analyzed it. But I realized my name changed, my accent has to change because I speak so quickly anyway. But with a Scottish accent, I was talking like that. Nobody knew what I was talking about. So, and I understood that. And then I recorded Shout, and they couldn't find another one like it. They couldn't find anything as bluesy, as rocky, and because as a singer, I like to ring a song out.
Oh, you do.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And so they couldn't find anything for me. And I was given songs that were not challenging enough for me, not in that I could do the ringing out. And so that's three things they changed. And then one day, coming off stage, I pounded my guitarist. What was that? You weren't even looking at the audience. You were watching, and I'm like, and Marion, my manager, said, yeah? And we both, me and my guitarist went, yeah. She said, you can't talk like that. You can't be like that. People are watching you. And they'll think that's all you are, and you'll get a bad name, and they'll think you're this and that and the next thing. So by that point, I thought, my name isn't good enough. My accent's not right. My personality is obviously not good enough, and it's not correct, it's not proper, it's not socially acceptable, all those things, even though I didn't have those words in my head at 15, socially acceptable.
Yeah.
And then the songs would be lightweight, a lot of them, and I'd want something I could get my teeth into. So I realized I've played the part of Lulu since I was 15 years old, and I am... Obviously, part of me is Marie from Glasgow. And, Lulu is happy, clappy, poppy, smiley, Delulu. And Marie is happy, scrappy, sometimes angry, bluesy, determined, different to Lulu. Yeah. But what happens is when you're playing characters like that, especially when you're a child, you take the character. I should say, not what anyone else is going to do, what I did. I took the character of Lulu on because why would I go on stage and not take Lulu with me? People seem to like her.
Yeah.
And but then I didn't know where she ended and where Marie began. So as I got older, it became more obvious. I had to look at that.
It's so interesting because I think when you start in... you drink away. A public-facing job at the age of 15. I was 15, 16 when I started presenting. It's obviously a very different audience you're working with or whatever.
I remember.
But, you do learn very quickly to be the good girl, That's what you've got to do.
Squeaky clean I was.
Squeaky clean and always smiling, and whatever someone tells you to do, you say yes, because otherwise you think you're going to lose the job, you know. So you are compliant, you are obedient, you play the role of the good girl. And I don't think I realised that until a couple of years ago, I would say. A couple of years ago, I was like, wait a minute, what do I actually want to do? Do I want to still keep saying yes to everything people ask me to do? And you know, maybe I'd like to explore some other emotions that I've got going on, like anger and, you know, all the other shit that I sort of bury deep, rather than just keep smiling and do the right thing. And, you know, obviously you want to be a good, kind person. You want to move through the world peacefully. But I think when you start suppressing whole parts of yourself, and like you said, parts of your childhood, which you were like, I cannot let other people see this, I cannot talk about it, that I think becomes very uncomfortable later down the line.
You know, it eventually is like everything. If you over exaggerate or you if you overdo anything, it will eventually, you'll have to address it because it will not be out of balance. So yeah, that's exactly what happened. I did it and I pushed forward because I'm very stoic. In fact, I love the Stoics. Yeah. I've pushed forward and, but eventually it's like, hello, anybody up there? Is this not working? This is getting more uncomfortable. And it wasn't until I was forced to do it. And that often happens with us human beings. Yeah. We don't look at things until we're forced to. Yep. And then, you know, because of how I conduct my life, I look at that now as a positive, even if it's really painful.
Yeah, well, because you're forced to change and you're forced to look at stuff you don't want to look at, and you can't run away from stuff. I think that's what I've realised too, is I've certainly been on the run quite a lot in life. Like, just run away from the stuff that you don't want to look at. Keep running, keep working, keep busy, keep preoccupied. Yes. It always catches up with you and you have to have a look at it. Yeah. I mean, that's what you've done exceptionally well with this book. You have dug around in all the messy bits, all the corners that you didn't want to look at.
But being respectful of other people, not dissing people.
No. But you're telling your version of events. Everyone knows that's your story. Yeah. When you look back to your childhood and the stuff that you were trying to cover over and not look at, you've got your mum's voice in your ear, this stays in the house. Yeah. How does it feel to then talk about your dad, your granddad's alcoholism, the violence in the house? You know, is there a sense of liberation that comes with the discomfort?
I think there is some sense of liberation, but to be honest with you, because I've just started doing promotion and the book is not out yet, it's not out till the 25th, but doing the Audible part of the book, I would have to stop and cry. And I think that's cathartic, and I'm hoping in the end it will be cathartic. And also, you know, I've had such an incredible life. I also was reminded of the amazing things. You know, it's because like you, absolutely, I've run all my life. Push forward, push forward, push forward. And so, you know, there's a price to pay for that. Because, oh my God, yeah. And it's not that I want to sit, and I'm certainly, one of my big things is I never want to get stuck. Never. So if I have the courage to, you know, take it up, look at it, what is that? Tried it, and I've done therapy, of course, and, you know, and then put it on the side. It doesn't have to be pushing up and you're pushing it down. There's no fight going on and it's not right up here. So I think ultimately it is important to look at the pain, go through the pain, accept the pain, and almost, I don't even like that I'm saying this, but it's almost necessary to almost embrace the pain. And like you said, it dissipates the shame. Yeah. And you know, when you're a little child and your parents are literally knocking the shit out of each other physically because there was alcoholism. I mean, not that in Glasgow you'd ever use that. They'd say, oh, Eddie likes a good drink, you know. But it was obvious my father was an alcoholic because his father was. And it's a family disease. And so I'm looking at it and I've done a lot of work around it that has liberated me.
Good.
That's the key. Yeah. And I only want to grow. I don't want to be stuck, you know? So that's I think, and I hope what the book's done for me. And if anyone else gets anything from it, it's a win-win situation.
Without a doubt. I mean, your relationship with alcohol has been complicated. Back when you were starting out and you were, around all of these big rock bands who were excessive and decadent, you were actually very against getting messed up. You're like, I don't want to drink loads. I don't want to do drugs.
I was frightened.
You were scared,
Yes.
But then much, much later down the line, in your 60s, that's when you started to realise, oh my God, I'm drinking every day. It's a bit of a slippery slope for you at that point in your life.
It certainly was. It wasn't until in my 60s that I really admitted. There's the key. I mean, I love the word denial. Somebody once says to me, and that's not a river in Egypt, denial. Denial is pushing it down, like you said, like you mentioned, and then it goes in the dark, and then it starts. People can get sick. We can get very sick from holding the stress and all. And it's so amazing that we can talk about that today. Yeah. I mean, because let's face it, in the 60s, was I going to talk about the hard stuff? No, they wanted to see Lulu. And also, rock and roll, the music business is fun. Talking about your misery is not fun. But at this point in life, I am so grateful to people like yourself, young people who talk about the glitches in their life, the problems they've had to deal with, and bring it out. And then everyone goes, oh yeah, I had the same thing. Oh yeah. I do. I go, absolutely fine. I'm the same. Yeah. And everything you said before is exactly what I've written in my book. There is so many similarities. Yeah. And, I'm part of a fellowship now because I admitted I am an alcoholic. Then I'm in this fellowship that people say that. And as soon as you say it out loud and people relate to, and not everybody's got the same story, but other alcoholics have similar stories. And someone said to me, don't listen to the differences, listen to the similarities. And there's healing takes place. And then because of the fellowship that I'm in, there's disciplines every day. I'm actually very disciplined. So with the drinking, I managed to control it until it started to control me. And then I was miserable. And I haven't had a drink since the 3rd of November 2013.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. Come on, Lulu.
I feel so much. Yeah. It's incredible how much better I feel. More clarity, joy. Yeah. And I always have joy. I'm that kind of person, I don't sit, and I'm lucky enough not to have a chemical depression, but I would get down. And also I was a very highly functioning alcoholic.
What do you think led you in your 60s to that point where you were drinking too much? Was it just a whole backlog of stuff?
I think it was a backlog, a build-up. Yeah. And of course, I'm someone I've always been like a carer, I'd always looked after my siblings, and I'm just that kind of. But one girlfriend once said to me when I was going out with this guy, I remember, don't mother him. That's what I do. So I've always, like you said, run. Yeah. And taking care of business everywhere, everything okay. And even if I would be drinking at night excessively and land in the bed like, I would be up next morning, brush up, get going, highly functioning.
So you convince yourself, I'm okay.
It's not a problem.
It's not a problem.
Don't you hear that a lot? Mm-hmm. And it's so great that I actually realized it was a problem. It got too painful. Yeah. But I did it secretly. Nobody knew. Nobody knew that I was going through what I was going through because of that deep-rooted dislike of myself. God, that part of myself was like, oh, God, why haven't you got yourself together? Look at the age you are. This is ridiculous, But thank you, God. I got recovery, and it's one of the most magical things in the world. There's acceptance. You drop any resentments. You just do the work. You do what you're advised to do, be disciplined, and certainly don't have a drink. That's the most important thing. Yeah. And so that doesn't cloud your judgment. It doesn't affect the chemicals in your body. You're kind of cleaner. Yeah. And therefore, like there's a bubble inside me. There's a little. I noticed one day after I got into recovery. I first went into recovery. I'm walking down the street, and the street the weather was a bit like today, sunny, and I just feel this little thing. I'm thinking, is that a bubble? A wee bubble inside. And I thought, well, it is kind of. I don't know how else to describe it. And I was just happy to be alive, excited about, looking forward to and today, 76, I'm still looking forward to my future. I'm really a lot going down there,
Too right. I mean, you're busier than ever, for goodness sake.
And I like that.
Yeah. I mean, when you started on that recovery journey, do you then, because you have clarity, do you then have to sift through the stuff you weren't looking at?
100%.
Yeah, that's not fun.
That's where you have to have the courage to go for it, and the support. You don't do it on your own.
No,
that's the big key. So anybody who thinks they have a problem and just doesn't know what to do, I mean, how could I be chatty Cathy here? Never say to someone, I need help. I need help because I'm losing myself, and I'm not happy, and I know the drinking. I mean, how many people do I know in recovery?
Yeah.
Probably everybody I know.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone you've ever worked with.
Yeah. So it's just but it's all about timing in our lives, I think. Do you?
It is. Oh my God,
time for
of
the
course.
book, time to talk, time to clear out, time to move forward. And I mean, I've reinvented myself probably in my 20s.
Yeah.
In my 30s, 40s, 50s. 60s and 70s.
I mean, how fun. That makes me so excited. It's so fun to have that constant opportunity to reinvent. And there's no one stopping us but ourselves.
Exactly.
We always get in our own way, and then when we clear it, we can start again. And it's so exciting. I love it.
It is. It's what it is. It's this tremendous hope.
There is. Do you know what, though? The funny thing is, sometimes when you reinvent yourself or and it's not like you've gone out and decided to get a haircut and get new clothes. It's a much deeper seated situation.
It's the whole
thing when you decide to, whether it's have a different outlook or, stop people pleasing or whatever it might be. It's up to the individual. But it doesn't always please those around you when you have that change. I even had someone, it was a man, more recently, write something on Instagram really salacious about me, and he put, what reinvention is she talking about? What is she spouting about now or something? And I thought, first of all, fuck you.
Doesn't he have anything else to do?
No, clearly no. But secondly, okay, so that's bothered him that I want to change or have a new chapter because he clearly isn't.
It's frightening.
It's frightening. It is frightening. It's frightening to do, and it's frightening for those people around you.
Frightening for someone. When you make that change, the people around you have to adjust.
Yeah.
They have to, and you used to do that dance with them. And no, you're no longer doing that dance. You're doing the whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? You're doing your thing.
Yes.
But they can't do that. So they're like, what does this mean for me?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, and then you've got to navigate that, and that's where I think again you need the support. You need to know that you're committed to it. There's discipline and courage involved in that,
and like-minded people around you, who are on the same journey, the same part of their journey. Maybe even if they're younger, they're even on that part, and it's and I think when I was a kid, that whole thing about being scrappy, and I mean, I didn't push people or fight with people because I was a bad person, but it's how you survived in Glasgow in those days. You didn't say, well, can we have a talk later? I'd like to discuss, how we're going forward with this relationship.
No. But isn't it funny how, those parts of yourself that you were either told keep that hidden or you started to not like, I had the same with parts of, I guess if I look back at footage of me on YouTube when I'm like 15, I'm like, all right, mate, I'm talking like a chimney sweep, like a little Victorian Cockney chimney sweep. And
Eliza Doolittle.
Yeah, literally. And for years I was like, oh God, I can't even bear it.
I can't bear to look at myself.
You end up going, I'm now at the age where I'm like, oh, thank God I was like that. Thank God I was sort of determined and fearless and put myself out there and all the stuff you call that bit of yourself the scrappy bit. That's what's got you to where you're at today. And you start to love that part of yourself.
That's a very good point, because sometimes, I would like, Lulu, I've got to do this part, Most of the time because music is my first love and it will be my last. Yes. It's all about the music has saved my life many, many, many times. And I talk about that in the book and how amazing, how difficult it is to be in the music business.
Oh, my God.
As a child, as a young woman, as a woman, and navigate all that. But then at the end, I love Lulu. Because when I go on that stage and I'm Lulu and I'm giving it what for, I bring a little bit of Marie, the little rough part of me, the big rough part of me. But it's not being pushed down.
No,
this is the key. I mean, you're a mother. You have to wear a certain hat when you're dealing with your children, when you're dealing with the school. You're a wife. You are now not married. Are you married now or are you divorced?
Limbo land.
So you're there. I mean, I've been there twice.
Yeah.
So, and then, dealing with our parents is another, the hat. So you've got your own mask. Mine were professional. Mine was deep, deep rooted.
Yeah.
And it was flying.
Yeah.
So I held on to Lulu and she was doing very well. But then I something about, where is that other part? I mean, I didn't even say, where is that other part of me? It was uncomfortable and I had to ask the questions. There's the key. Yeah. There's the key. Yeah. Curiosity. I'm curious. And if I fall down or I get stuck, because people say to me, what's your secret? What's your secret? People are very kind to me. And complimentary most of the time, and when they say, what's your secret, you're young, or you're young for your age and all that. Well, youth isn't just about the candles on the, it's not about the numbers. It's about the spark in your eyes. Yes. And then if you've got that spark and that goes, so you ask, I heard somebody say this, you're knocked down, you're knocked over, or you're disappointed or you're stuck. Ask yourself, what next? What's going to happen next? Yeah. And then that's like oxygen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't run out of breath. So if people say to me, what's your secret? I think maybe that's part of it, you know?
There's always something coming. There's always, you're never like,
yes.
Oh, this is it. Oh, well, I'll just sit in this and feel like shit. It's like,
and
what's next?
Women
what's
at 40 used to say, well, the kids are now at school and they don't need me as much and blah, blah, blah. So what can you do?
Yeah, right.
You've undoubtedly got a talent that is held down there that has to come up.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And like I said, from my 20s, I thought it was all over because I couldn't get hit records. And, I'd had some and I wanted more and I wanted to be relevant and I didn't want to lose my job. So I changed. I did things and I've done it again and again and again. So
yeah, I mean,
that's probably one of my secrets.
What you talk about that era of your life in the book in great detail, sort of that frustration that you weren't getting the songs that you wanted, that sort of soulfulness, and you ended up doing, again, because of this obedience that sort of been beat into you, like you will say yes to everything, and your manager would come up with these sort of light-hearted TV shows for you to do, or very mainstream stuff that didn't necessarily feed your soul, but it was paying the bills and you were getting your face out there and doing your thing.
And I heard all the common sense of why it's good to do it. Yeah. You're building a career. I mean, I'm always building a career.
Yeah.
But I understood that, but it didn't sit comfortably all the time. And I think young women today are really much better at that. You see, when I started, there was nobody I said, well, look how they've done it. Like today, a young person will they've watched Christina Aguilera, they've watched Britney, they've watched the ups, the downs.
Yeah, it was you and a bunch
Madonna.
of men. It was you and the Stones and the Beatles and
and they were also still finding their way.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating to look at that.
It is. I mean, you had an incredible collaborative relationship with David Bowie and also sex.
Yes.
With David Bowie, which
yes.
I mean, I am fascinated by David Bowie.
You know what? I have never said yes. I had sex with David Bowie until now. This is the first time. This is the first time I've said it because I've always said, I chose not to speak about it.
No.
It was private. And if I'm 100% honest, which I have decided that's what I'm going to be, I think I was slightly pissed.
Yeah.
I can't really remember much. Only to say that he got me there and we were in his room and, we performed the act, and I don't have to go into bloody details because I can't actually remember details, but I wouldn't share them anyway. I do have boundaries.
Yeah.
I'm learning
of
to work,
course.
have boundaries. You
Yeah.
know? But the point is, I did, and it was an incredible experience to work with a guy like that.
Yeah.
To be in his orbit and to be so, he honored me. I mean, he was
fascinated by your talent.
He was fascinated.
He was
fascinated.
You could tell by even the conversations that you can recall in the book with him that he was mesmerised by your voice, saw that rawness, that like Marie bit of you that had that.
Saw the scrappy.
The power, the power. And that's why you were like magnets for each other, collaboratively, musically. You really gelled. And you at the time felt like it was perhaps jarring because you were doing mainstream, you were doing this TV
I was on
stuff.
Saturday night television.
And he was, this is the Ziggy Stardust era?
Yes.
Aladdin Sane era? He was, being quirky and weird and cool and doing all of this out there stuff.
He was the coolest dude on the block, and I was like, he said he's going to record me. He's going to, people say all sorts of things. But I'll tell you, as soon as I walked back to my room that first night, I got into my room in the hotel. The phone rang. It was him. I just left him. And it was, we're going to do this. And I'm going to da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, oh, no. And I was like, oh, my God, I think he's serious. So I felt, I'll be honest with you, I'm only looking for love. I'm only looking to be loved and to give love. Yeah. And I don't mean I want to have affairs and it's about sex. It's about a much deeper thing than that. And we shared, and I felt he saw me. Where my record companies were saying, do Boy, that's the song, and do I'm a Tiger. And I'm like, and I went home and I put on Ray Charles.
Yeah.
So, but he saw that. Through that. He said, they don't know what to do with you. They don't get you. They don't get your voice. So for a young guy to actually look deeply into a person or to have taken interest in the person, and it just happens to be David Bowie.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something that happened with Bowie that I've also never really said, is that he was a chameleon. I mean, there's never been anyone like him. People do try to emulate him, but he is the original.
Yeah.
But I think we were in the Chateau Aéroville, and he lit a gitane or wherever there was French cigarettes he smoked, Disc Bleu, something like that. Very cool,
Gorgeous.
man. Very cool.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I was smoking at the time. I was smoking consulates. They were mint.
Oh, love a mint fag.
I mean, how cool was I? Not. So he told me to smoke a gitane, and he lit one, and we were in the canteen, we're sitting, just the two of us, and he leaned forward to me, and he looked in my eyes, and I leaned forward, and I thought, oh my God, what's he going to say? I think you could lose a bit of weight, he said.
Wow.
Well.
Not what you were, I mean.
I was crushed.
I bet you were.
Because I don't think I was fat, but he was emaciated, and I think he really wanted to take me and redesign me to get me to a place that he thought was better for me, et cetera, et cetera. And sadly, the thing didn't. I would have loved it to have continued. But, when I then went to New York to do the next lot of recordings, David was not in a place that I felt comfortable with because he was doing a lot of drugs. And, I mean, I'm not saying letting the cat out of the bag. It's documented.
Yeah, of course.
And I was hanging around a lot. I recorded Can You Hear Me? And I recorded another thing called Dodo. I'm a dodo. Interesting lyric. But with David Bowie, it was just different. It was different,
Yeah.
But, it didn't go any further than that because I decided I'm going back to London.
Yeah.
This is really I'm not comfortable.
How amazing you listened to that intuition. Even at that young age, you were like, I'm listening to myself.
I think we all know everything, but it's whether we allow ourselves to, and that's where my meditation comes in.
Yeah.
What happens is there is actually a chemical difference in your body when you meditate, and I've been doing it for over 40 years. Doesn't mean to say I've got all the answers, I've got my life sorted completely, but there's a difference. So I think I knew there are these drugs around, and I don't know, am I going to get caught and get give in or, remove yourself. And that really is the most common sense thing to do. Remove yourself from a conversation that's going on with people that is distasteful to you or is just bitching. And you think, oh, remove yourself. Politely or not, however you feel you should do it. And so that's what I did with Bowie. And of course, he thought I was angry with him. He was annoyed. I wasn't. I mean, I was maybe frustrated, but I wasn't angry with him. I mean, I just loved him, and I just loved his talent. Yeah. But I thought, oh, you can't just sit around here.
No, I mean, I think it's remarkable considering you hang around with all of the most, the most famous rock stars, the absolute rock superstars of the heyday, some of which are still going strong, like the Stones. And
how are they?
Who knows? They're remarkable. But, you were in the mix of that absolute debauchery, yet you stayed really going down the straight, narrow path of this is my career, I'm not going to mess it up. I think that's amazing.
I think it was fear-based.
Right.
I was driven by fear. And, I also have, which I think, thank God, in my character, that I can feel the fear and do it anyway. You remember that book?
Yeah. I love that book, Suzanne Jeffers.
Love that book. But so I do it. I feel the fear and I go, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Pull up your diapers, babies. We're coming in, That's what I do. And sometimes it's good. Sometimes, it's too much.
Yeah.
But that's my character, and I've come to learn to not always embrace myself and love myself, but more than I ever did. Because I still can't say to myself in the mirror, I love you. I go, ew.
It's so awkward.
No, but I think it's my actions.
Yeah.
And the way I lead my life now is different, and it feels better.
Because you're treating yourself nicely?
Having some respect. And actually, you know what, more than anything, forgiving myself for the things that I didn't get right.
That is such a big one. I am still on
a
learning curve with that one.
Yeah.
There's some stuff I can. There's some stuff where it's like, it's so painful to look at some actions or decisions that you've made and to properly forgive yourself. I mean, it's powerful if you can do it. My God.
Yeah.
Powerful. I mean, when you look back, certainly writing a book, you are quite literally looking through the entirety of your life. And obviously your work life started at 15 when the spotlight's on you, there's pressure on you, there's demands, there's opportunity. It's just a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Do you look back and have any regrets?
I don't waste my time regretting, really, except it will creep in occasionally. I think, I could have done that differently, of course. But I have read enough. I've read every self-help book there is out there. I have done therapy. I've given up alcohol. So there is space now for me if I can't love myself or forgive myself completely. I can accept, and that's a big word in my life. Accept the things you cannot change.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
It's a hard one.
That's the serenity prayer.
It's peace. Yeah.
And, there's another hook that I hang things on because I've read, other people's autobiographies, their memoirs, and how they've gotten through difficult times. And I've thought, and they've said something. I've thought, I've got to remember that. I like to hang on to little things, that, I accept. Acceptance is so good. I mean, Don Henley's forgiveness, even if you don't love me anymore. There's that whole song. If you listen to the lyric, it's all about that. So I remember things, and if anyone says something to me, how did you do it? And I can share what I've learned.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing, which is, I think, is so healing for ourselves, but hopefully healing for somebody else.
Well, you only hope so, don't you?
Yeah.
Like sharing stories, talking about things that feel deeply uncomfortable, that it somehow makes a difference to somebody.
But it has done with me, so I think, well, maybe it'll do it with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody has helped you. You can give a little bit back occasionally,
Too right.
So that's why I'm writing the book too.
Yeah.
Is to do that and to relieve myself of carrying secrets.
Yeah, secrets eat away at you. They really eat away at you. And I think, if you can find even one trusted person that you feel safe saying that thing to, that will be enough.
It's certainly the biggest start. The biggest step.
Start, yeah.
The biggest step.
And people never reacted. Like, I shared something with someone recently that I care about deeply, and I felt sort of embarrassed and nervous to say this thing about myself. And you know, you're thinking the worst, like they're going to go, I don't want to ever meet up with you ever again or be your friend. And of course, that's never the case. People are like, oh, I have a similar situation
I've got
in my life.
a worse story than that. Let me tell you mine. And then
Heaven.
You're laughing at you.
It's the best.
And that is the great thing.
It's the great
That
thing.
is one of the great things, I think, and I hope it's in the book, you know, because it's hard to be totally objective, you know, but about yourself. But I hope that that comes through, that my life has had so much joy that I have a lot of gratitude for what it's the glass half full, not the glass half empty, you know, which is a great saying again. That's how I look at my life now. And in fact, it's not that I've made these changes, I've forced them, I've learned, I've studied, which I have, but you can't force change. It sort of happens. Yeah. You kind of imbibe. Somebody said to me the other day, what does imbibe mean? What is imbibe? What's another word for imbibe?
I always think of it as like drinking something in. You're like drinking in whatever that is.
And you absorb it.
Yeah.
And that's why I would never talk about being an alcoholic before. Look at you.
Oh, Christ. What's going on? My foam placemat is coming with my cup.
But that's the thing, I think, too, that's fantastic. You know, change doesn't happen snap.
No.
Because you make the decision. There's, you know, you have to let it sit. You have to absorb it, the understanding of it. And, you know, so therefore in my life, I've been able to make amends, which is such an incredible thing to do.
Oh, God,
where
it's
I would have
so
been
powerful.
Embarrassed to say, look, I have to speak to you and tell you how sorry I am about the stuff way back.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Saying sorry is a huge one, but it is so beautiful if you can do it.
Powerful.
It
actually has
so
a
relieving.
a powerful effect on our bodies, on our mind.
I think so. I had a fallout with someone a while back, and I made the first move to apologise, which was terrifying because you don't know if you're going to be rejected. I think that's the kind of fear, that your apology will be rejected, and it wasn't. And I'm actually so much closer with this person now because we went through the whole big bumpy journey of falling out and now being even better friends.
Because it's gone deeper.
Heaven.
The relationship's deeper.
Yeah, it's more meaningful.
And you know, in the fellowship, they say it's important to make amends and not be expecting any particular result.
Yeah.
You know, so if the person isn't ready to hear it, first you say, I'd like to speak to you. I'd like to make amends for something that I believe I did that was not, it's bad behavior. And are you ready to hear it?
Yeah.
And that's the great thing. That's another thing I learnt, that I can say to a person, can I? And if they say no, you have to take it. And you have to think, well, they're not ready yet. It's not their time. But I have made the effort.
Exactly.
And then if you, like with your friend, it's, I'll tell you a story about me. My best girlfriend was an actress called Peggy Lipton. Peggy lived in LA, and she died in 2019. But I remember at some point, and while I was going through therapy and such like, and she's American, I mean, she's LA, they've done loads of therapy. So at one point we had a thing about this guy that she was flirting with, and I said, you know I quite like him. I don't know why you're flirting with him. She went, oh, whatever she said, I took it a certain way, and I was really, and it looked like she didn't hear me. She carried on. I was heartbroken. My best friend, I love her to bits. So at one point I said to her, look, this is uncomfortable because I'm resentful now. I've got a resentment, and it's not, I love you and I don't want to feel this way. How about we have somebody help us to get through this? And my sister's a psychotherapist. So
wow, that's handy.
I said to her, yeah, it is. And I said to Peggy, how would you feel if Edwina was the sort of mediator, the third person? She said, oh, I'd love it. I love Edwina. So Edwina came in and we're chatting and we were talking. And when you said this, when you did that, and I felt, you know, all that stuff. And then something happened, and I was like not happy with whatever the conversation was. And my sister said, can I come in here? Yes, of course. She said, Peggy didn't say what you just said. I said, yes, she did. She said that. That's what she said. And Edwina said, no, she didn't. Did you say repeat what you just said? And I repeated whatever it was. And Peggy said, no, I didn't say that. Then I felt really uncomfortable. I thought, I'm losing it. She said, would you like me to tell you what Peggy said? And she told me what Peggy said, and I went, that's not what I heard, you see.
Yeah.
My mind was so busy, you know, calculating, going over it, being smart-assed. It was, and you know, that was the relief it was a breakthrough with Peggy and I. And until the day she died, she was my best. My bestie.
But it's horrible admitting that you've got things wrong. It's the worst.
And it's liberating sometimes.
But it is
liberating. It's awkward. And you're
awkward,
you got a
and
bit
then
red in the face
it.
and you're like, oh, idiot, which I often am.
Well, we all are.
Yes!
No one wants to say that, but we all are. We piss people off. We fuck up all the time. It's like, that's life. That's life. A lot of our listeners are of a similar age to me, like mid-40s.
Yes.
And you had a particularly turbulent 40s. There was a lot of loss. Your manager and you parted
20 odd
ways.
years,
20 odd, she'd been there since you were a child.
She was like a surrogate mother.
She was like a surrogate mum. And then your marriage ended with John Frieda, who you'd been married to, you had a child with. How did you navigate that? It's a weird time in your 40s. There can be lots of change. There's a lot of questioning your life and who you are and what you want for the second sort of act, if you will. What got you through that era?
Definitely, not just off the top of my head. I threw myself back into music. I hadn't recorded for years. And then I did an album called Independence. That put me back in the front, and totally my profile was up. And I had success. And the music thing is always like, that's my soul, that's my soul. That's the thing that's always been there, is my music. So that was a success. My brother, who walked the walk with me, because he said, we got to go to publishers. In the old days, the publishers used to send songs to your record producer, your A&R man. I actually went to the publishers. He said, they're not going to believe it when you walk in, because people like you don't walk in and say, have you got any songs that might work for me? Can you let me hear some stuff? And you make an appointment before. And he said they were like, Lulu? Wow, she's still around? Well, I thought, right. So, I got the old scrappy
Marie came out.
She came out.
Come on, Marie.
I'll fucking show them, am I still around? And, I bet they think I can't even sing anymore. I'll definitely show them. So that really got me through. But at the same time, I was so broken by, and obviously, what we were talking about before, all the insecurities, all the thinking I'm not good enough and who am I anyway? Who the hell am I? Was bubbling up. So I went to the Meadows, which is a rehab clinic in Arizona, that I had been advised, someone I knew who had done the work and said, your trauma is all coming up, because I felt I'd been abandoned and I felt let down, and I felt that probably I was responsible for it, because that's where my head goes, and I could have done it better, and I shoulda, coulda, woulda. And so I went and I did a lot of work on myself, and I realized that the way I behaved in my marriage, my husband didn't just leave me. It obviously built up. I was again in denial about what was going on. And I started to look at myself. What was your part in this? Now, I'm very fortunate that I could pay to go to rehab, and that I had people suggest that to me. And it's literally just taking yourself off, working with highly accomplished people in the area of psychology and healing and recovery. And so that helped. I had new tools, new record, then Take That.
Yes, Take That.
And then Tina Turner records the song. It's a worldwide hit.
Yes.
The first song my brother and I wrote. So I felt like, boy, have I got my power back. Yeah. But so I did as much work as I could for that time. And not to say that there wasn't more work to do. Quite clearly there was.
There always
is. But that helped me. That helped me, my work, because I love my work. I'm sure you're the same.
Bloody love it.
And I can throw it back at you, because I know.
I'm so grateful I love it.
I know you do, and you're so good at it. And why wouldn't you keep doing it? And, so I got a lot of, I was valued for my success in my work. And I was feeling, I reinvented myself. And that's what I say to any woman. Turn the page. Yeah. You never know what the next chapter's going to be, because I know I've done it. Turn the page. You might be surprised.
How exciting.
And there's hope for goodness knows what else you're going to do in your life. And your 40s? You're in your 40s?
Yeah.
It's just beginning. It hasn't even started.
Yes.
That's what I know from my own experience. And I know that it's okay for me to talk about myself and tell my truth in a book, a memoir. It's not just about me talking about me, because I'm sick of me, to be honest with you.
No,
but I think, look, it can happen. I'm the proof.
Exactly. God, I feel fired up. This is like the Lulu pep talk that all of us need. We need this on loop, just playing in the morning. So we're like, turn the fucking page. What's happening next?
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yes.
It's exciting.
Get knocked down and then think, now what am I going to do?
Yes.
And that's what I say to myself if I feel stuck. I hate the idea of being stuck.
I hate it.
Don't know what to do, don't know where I'm going.
Stagnancy
So I
is
ask
the
myself the
pit.
questions, and I have things written down. I've got books and pads and iPads, and and that to me is exciting. Yeah. I don't like to use the word exciting too much, because in my not that one shouldn't use the word, but I overdo everything. So I try to limit my excitement mode, because excitement means you can only come down.
Yeah.
But what I'm aiming for in my life is to have an even keel. Yeah. Is to accept the huge, fabulous wins with the same equilibrium and equipoise that I accept. That didn't happen. I wanted that. Move on.
Yeah.
So I have worked on myself.
I love
in other
that.
words, and I'm really only interested in growing.
Yeah.
That's all I'm interested
Yeah.
in growing and being loving. And we talked about being kind to oneself, because I'm tough. I mean, even today, my new manager, and it's a young woman. I have a young woman and a young man. And Shoshana will say to me, God, you're so tough on yourself. Can't you just accept the win? Actually, yeah, I can. You can. It's your mind space.
Of course, you get into a habit of just being hard on yourself.
And and I've learned all that. And I know you know so much of this. It's. But a lot of people maybe don't know it. First of all, people don't know that you can get help if you think you're drinking too much.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in it.
Nope.
And you also don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to announce it in the papers. I decided no. I'm going to get to know the language. I'm going to let this land, and I'm going to get really comfortable with my recovery. And then when I'm ready, I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Now that
Be ready.
is not being a pushover. That's making a very important decision and not handing it over to other people, which I did all the time when I was young. I thought they knew better. And even if I thought they were full of shit, I thought, well, at least they're more experienced. They must know. And they've got that big job. And they're all men with suits. And I think, if I'm honest, and I don't know if I've actually said this in the book, because I've said so much, I think I've always been slightly afraid of men. And I think that had to do with my father being aggressive.
Yeah.
And my father was also, let me say, a loving, funny, hysterical man. But the alcohol, ate away at all his good points. And, they would come out. Yeah. And that's what it does. If you don't deal with stuff, and my parents were damaged. They had really tough childhoods. And they weren't like you or me. They learn about therapy. They learn there's no shame in having therapy, and you've got to deal with it, bring it into the light, because it festers in the dark. All of the things we've learned. My parents weren't sophisticated, and they were of a certain age.
Yeah, they didn't have the opportunity to have that kind of conversation.
And my father, I loved my father. I loved my mother, even though I hated them at times.
Yeah.
Because of their behavior.
Yeah.
And I mean, to talk in this book about something that I had blanked and pushed down, connected with my father, that I actually put my father in jail when I was I don't know if I was 11, 12, or 13, but around that age. They were fighting so much, and I was frightened. One of them would hurt the other one, and it would be fatal. And I was the eldest of the 4 kids, and there was only 3 at that time. And I ran out of the house. And I said, you've got to help me. My mummy and daddy are fighting, and one of them's going to kill the other. And so they came with me, the police. It was frightening to do that. I was, like I said, I feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's somewhat of what my Guru Mai says that we know everything. Anything she tells us we know already. She's just reminding us that we know it.
Yeah.
And isn't that true of everything?
Well, we always assume everybody else knows better than us. That's just the thing, isn't it? Like, they know how to do life and I don't. I'm winging it. But everyone else got the book and I didn't get the book with all the rules in it. And it's bollocks.
I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not whatever the old tape is saying. Yeah. But then, they came, they took my father, they took him to jail overnight. He came back. And it was so painful and so frightening. But I can tell you, not long after, we had the music on and we were all singing and dancing. So, my life was like, it was tough with the two of them.
Yeah,
bloody Egypts they were. I could see that they were crazy and it was not good. And I was, I was forced really, without anyone saying, I was forced into growing up in a certain way, even though I was a child and completely naive. But then there was that love and that. So somewhere inside me, I accepted them, I forgave them, but I didn't fully forgive them until I got older.
Well, it's a life's work, all of this stuff, isn't it? It's a life's work. There's no sort of age we can pin, that kind of completion to, like, when I'm in this era of my life, I'll understand it all, forgive everybody, feel fine. It's just all day, every day, forever.
And that's the only way that we can actually absorb it.
Yes.
Because if we get it all at once,
it's too much.
There'll be a lot of little holes like a colander and it'll all seep out. But that's also why we have to be reminded of what we already know or we think we don't know.
Yeah.
And then we know it and then we have to remind ourselves again. And then we have to practice it again. I know the more I practice, and that's why I know when I go on stage, after 62 years, I got it.
Yes.
Are you nervous? No.
I fucking got this,
wait
mate.
to get on. I get on and I'm like, screaming and singing and then, heart-wrenching. I love it.
I mean, I probably know the answer to this question because you've just said what you've said, but where is your happy place?
Oh, of course. Where is my happy... Oh, the immediate thing that jumps in is with my grandchildren.
Oh.
I mean, because they're joyful.
Yeah.
They're funny. They're smart. And you know what? Now I've got to the point. Nana. First of all, my Bella is 15. Oh God, she'll kill me. I'm talking about her. But she's what she does to me, and I wish I knew. And Teddy, they both do the same. They go Nana, and they put the camera of my phone right up here, and they take a picture of me, and they're screaming with laughter. Oh yeah, there's a big nose. What is that? They go look at that. And then because she's 15, I don't hear from her so much now.
Right, she's got her own social scene going on, sure, for sure.
But now she'll just be there. Oh, it's Bella. So my phone goes, it's Bella. I go, hi, honey. She goes, hi, Nana. Look, my friends just want to say hi. Say hi. And she holds it, and I go, hi. All right, Nana, bye.
Oh, so cute. That's such a lovely little relationship. I love it.
That's
adorable.
That's if it's not a place, but it is a place. It's a place deep inside me.
Of course, yeah.
And because I didn't have more children. I mean, I have the most fabulous son, of course. I wouldn't say anything else. No mother would. Although I would if he was a sod. I would. I'd say he's a bit of a... I would tell you he was a problem.
He's a good one.
He's a good one. So he and I have got such a great relationship, but all they do is laugh at me. All they do is, everything I do is funny. Oh, Nana, left, Nana. Oh, God, Nana, turn left here. And I'm like, it's amazing how I survive without you guys. And they laugh and I say, I'm so happy that I'm such a source of joy to you.
Yeah, my mum is like this with my children. Yeah, exactly the
same.
So
it's like we're all the same.
Exactly the same.
But it's a great place to be.
So lovely.
That's my happy place.
So lovely. Well, I am so grateful that you wrote this book. I got so much from it, not only the beautiful storytelling, but just how willing you've been to be so honest and share the tougher bits that I think will help so many people out there. Lulu, you are a legend and I love you.
A legend.
A legend.
Yeah, thank you so much.